Okay, Jamie.
Uh-huh.
Okay, can you tell us about your family connection to Brushy Mountain?
There was two brothers that settled this community. One received what is known as Windrock Mountain today, and
Hmm.
the other got this mountain here
Okay.
for services they had done. And yeah, we settled this little community here.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
always been here.
yeah. And then you sold the land, or your
No, we
ancestors?
didn't sell the land.
You didn't.
No, it was put in a 99-year lease agreement
Okay.
or until it shut down.
Okay.
And they gave the family. The story goes they burnt them out twice before we ever signed on to any type of a deal.
Yeah.
But um, they gave the deed says $20 and a hog rifle.
Yeah.
It's a lease agreement, a 99-year lease agreement, or until it shut down. So,
Okay.
and that the Arms family could always work here, no questions asked.
Yeah. Arms is the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What is a pig rifle?
A
And do you
hog
still have it?
rifle?
Hog
It's just,
rifle.
I guess, a gun they shot hogs with. I really don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Do you
don't
still
know.
have it? Does your
No,
family
I
still
don't
have it?
have it.
Or your
No,
family?
no.
It'd be
No, we don't have a $20 bill either. So,
well, the $20 bill is not worth as much as it
yeah,
was
they
back then.
probably sold the gun to get some money. If I had to guess, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what other activities have you done at the prison? I know you're do the night tours,
Yes,
the
I do.
paranormal
Yeah,
tours.
I do day tours and I do their night
Yeah.
tours. I do. I work in the museum and collect the artifacts there, and
Hmm.
mainly I fell down a rabbit hole here though, just digging on the history of the place. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know that in doing the research, you've got a lot of history
yeah,
on here. You've done really a great job of finding out facts and things like that.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Um, so, how did you get started in the paranormal part of it?
Just having my personal experiences
Hmm.
throughout life, and then when this shut down, we had family that had some keys, and we would come up here and
Hmm.
just we started ghost hunting it as soon as it shut down, and we were hooked.
Yeah.
We've been here since. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell us about your paranormal experiences before you got here. Your first one.
Um, my first one in here
No, your first one
in
ever.
general.
Yeah.
Oh wow. My first one that I can recall was when I was a little girl. My great grandmother had passed away. She babysat me, and
Hmm.
one day I was talking to her, and my mom told me she had been dead for 2 weeks when I was seeing her and talking with her.
Really.
And so, and I remember that, but and she's come to me a couple times since then.
Really.
So yeah, but that would be my first. That's how I guess that's what got my curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the first one here?
My first one here. Oh gosh, there's been so many. Uh, what was my first one here? I really don't remember what was my first one here. There's been so many. I guess one that really stands out to me, though, we were in the cafeteria one night with a group of people, and it was just about 5 minutes after midnight. We were getting some activity in there, and we had been seeing a shadow on the floor,
Hmm.
and I had drew the attention to the group. I was like, watch it and see if this shadow comes back, and it did.
Hmm.
But it started moving out and becoming bigger.
Hmm.
And as we were watching it, it came up off the floor and manifested in front of us.
Hmm.
We all seen it. Everyone had the same exact experience,
Hmm.
but it came up and then it walked down the middle of the room in front of us.
Yeah.
So that was probably the coolest thing I think I've had happen here, just because everyone had the same experience. No one missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen one manifest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's a shadow figure, right?
That was a shadow figure.
Yeah.
It was, yes.
Yeah. Are they ghosts, or what are they defined as? What's the?
Well, a lot of people think that those are a little more negative. I don't know if I agree with that. Sometimes I don't know. I'm back and forth on that
Mm-hmm.
one. But now we do get apparitions here that's so clear that we've chased them through here thinking people have broke into the
Mm-hmm.
prison,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, the only way you know they're ghosts is they're there one minute, they're gone the next, or they'll
Mm-hmm.
go through a wall, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So they look just like a human.
They really do. Yeah, yeah, and you don't see through them, like they're not. They're solid. They appear
Mm-hmm.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they appear for a long time, or?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes they have for quite a bit. I mean, not like a really long time, but for several minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I was listening to some podcast or video, and it said that there were so many people in a group, and then there were more,
yeah,
and and then they
yeah,
just disappeared.
yeah,
You know, they were following your tour group, I guess.
yeah.
So.
And well, there was one too. Like I followed down the hallway, and I was actually I was answering someone on my phone, and I was looking over the end of my phone to make sure I wasn't stepping on this guy's heels,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it was the guy that rented it. And we went into the office, and I laid my phone down, and I turned around, and I went to speak to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't there. And I asked the girl, I said, "Where's Mark?" And she said, "Well, he went out about an hour ago. He hasn't come back." I said, "He just walked in the room with me." She said, "Jamie, you walked in by yourself."
Mm-hmm.
But I seen him clear as day, and she didn't see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens sometimes too.
Yeah.
It's I don't
Do you
know.
think some people are more? Uh, you think ghosts might be attracted to certain people and they're not, and they show themselves to the
I
people,
think
or?
so. I mean, I know for these here, some people will come in and like last night was a really active night here, but then there's other times that some groups come in and they don't get anything at all, no activity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's got to do with their personalities. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe I think they're still like they were in life. If they don't like you, they don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, they do. But and then there's also people that come in and they're telling you stuff that happened while they were in here, and they're like, "Well, I don't believe in it." But then they're telling you this story, and they don't know what happened. They can't
Mm-hmm.
explain what happened.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know what they're expecting. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people do have experiences. They just they don't want to admit that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah. Have you ever been scared or frightened?
Yeah.
Can you
Out of
tell?
here, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Tell us about that.
I mean, we've seen things. Now, this before my family had this property, this was Native American land.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a lot of that comes through from time to time. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, we've seen things in here that I feel like it's like, I really don't know. I don't like to say demonic, but they're, I don't know. They don't look like they were ever human. So
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't like to put a label on that, but um, I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe it has to do with the Native American side of it, but then again, I wonder. I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Are there places here you don't go to?
No, I
Yeah.
go anywhere here. There's places I will go that I won't go by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just you know, just in case something does happen there,
Yeah.
that we've got someone there to help
Like
out.
like where would that be?
Like, there's the third floor. I've been in there by myself, but if I go in and I have a heavy feeling or
Mm-hmm.
If I'm tired or sick, I'll make sure I've got someone with me,
Mm-hmm.
just because I feel like that makes you a little more vulnerable when you're,
If you're tired or sick.
yeah,
Do they pray on that, do you think?
yeah. If they're negative,
Uh,
yeah, they do, yeah.
yeah. Now, what's special about the third floor? What was it?
The third floor was our hospital originally,
Mm-hmm.
and then later in years they switched it over to an auditorium, or the back half of it. The front half stayed at the hospital, but then and there were several killed while it was an auditorium, but then there's a lot that died from the hospital, of
Mm-hmm.
course. But I don't know. I really don't know why that one area is so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a door's been open there or what, but it tends to be negative in there for some reason.
What do you mean if a door's been opened?
Well, like I mean, like if somebody's went in there practicing something they didn't know, as far as like doing seances or something, they
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to close the door when they're done with
Mm-hmm.
their little. I don't know. I don't do seances, so I
Yeah.
can't go in depth with you on that
Yeah.
one. But it's. I'm told if you don't do it right, it'll leave the door
Mm.
open. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that has happened. You got to think, though. I mean, there was all walks of life here. There was Christian, there was Muslim. Satan worshippers came
Mm-hmm.
through here, which
Yeah.
people practice all types of religions, and they were allowed to do that. You couldn't deny them that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you don't know. I don't know what came through here or
Yeah.
what's happened.
Yeah. I've never been on a ghost hunt, paranormal tour, or
Hmm.
anything like that. I don't know very much about it.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting,
yeah,
and so some of the terms you might use, I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was raised, Christian, and I have my own beliefs, but that um, I don't know. I just
Yeah. What was the creeper? Is that what you
the
described
creeper, that's
earlier?
the negative
Yeah.
energy we get up there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's negative. He doesn't like me. Again, I have my Christian beliefs. I think that's why he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like me. He doesn't interact with me very much.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's a nasty one.
Mm-hmm.
He is nasty.
How do you know he's nasty? Does he
Well,
give off a vibe
we
or?
were up there one night, and a girl that helped me do these tours for a while,
Mm.
was attacked in there one night by, but um, yeah. So, um,
Is
yeah,
that why she's
no,
not doing the tours with you now?
huh?
Is that why she's not doing the tours with
Yeah,
you now?
no, she's not been back since that night. Yeah,
I can't say I
yeah.
blame her.
No, I
No.
don't blame her at all.
How
No.
often are people pushed or bit or attacked or scratched?
I mean, it happens occasionally, especially if they come in here trying to provoke,
Mm-hmm.
and disrespecting them. Um, I just, but for the most part, the majority of them here are just like they've got a story to tell. They're
Mm-hmm.
just here wanting to interact, and they're not nasty. They're just,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of them old souls that are here. Like when we put this in lease to the state, it came off the back of the Coal Creek War, which was a little civil war here.
Mm-hmm.
But the men that was coming through here in the beginning were between the ages of 17 and 25 for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't hardcore criminals. They were in here for things like cussing,
Mm-hmm.
drinking. I've got several death certs for dancing, and that was their crime, dancing, and they lost their life while here. So, and they're buried here.
Mm-hmm.
Their families never got them back, but um, So, that's what I try to remind people of that when they come in,
Hmm.
that you may be interacting with a 18-year-old that was in here for dancing,
Yeah.
I mean, even as far as cussing goes, the whole United States would be in prison today if that were the case.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like they've got a story to tell, and,
Hmm.
and they're trying to tell it.
Do you think some of the people in prison for those, I won't even call them crimes, were just so they could get people to work in the coal mine?
Absolutely,
It was
that
so.
was free labor, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what they were
And
doing.
they got a lot of African Americans too.
No, it was not. And,
They didn't?
a lot of people do say that, but no, what I'm finding that it was equal amounts whites as blacks.
Really?
No, not at all. More than the
I
other.
guess that makes sense because there's not a huge black population around
No,
here. It's
yeah,
it's
and I mean, and they were coming. We got a lot of them. I'm finding in some of our ledgers that we got a lot of them out of Mansfield, Ohio. Like they brought
hmm,
them from other places in
yeah,
here. But yeah, no, it was. They didn't care what color you were. They just wanted you in
did
those.
the labor.
And even I found the youngest they brought in here was a 10-year-old. So
Hmm.
you know. So no, they didn't care.
It. I read there was like 10,000 people died here
Or,
roughly. It's probably more.
yeah,
How many people do you think are buried here?
over 2,000 for sure.
Yeah.
We had a crematory here. They ran them through, but we're marking graves back now. We're over 1,000.
Hmm.
We're not even halfway through the field yet,
Yeah.
and so they'll be well over two, I think.
How y'all finding them?
One, you can see them.
Yeah.
You can. There's such old graves, you can actually see the
Hmm.
graves for the most part. But we're using um, photographs of the old where the markers
Hmm.
were and stuff, and then we've been contacted about doing some of the what is that sonar or something where they.
LiDAR?
Yes,
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be great if you could use it. I
Yeah,
think it's pretty expensive,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So where you're looking at the graves, is that haunted down in the old graveyard?
One of the wardens, actually the warden that removed the markers off the graves,
Hmm.
he had his first experience over there. He's seen an apparition in
Hmm.
the field. So yeah, you get activity there. This whole property's active. You get it
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Whatever happens to grave markers?
They just removed them. I think they removed them for just because it was easier to mow the field.
Hmm.
They piled them up in a pile. They actually built that monument that's standing there out of
Hmm.
a lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Now, was cell block D built over graves? I've heard yes and no.
I don't think so. I mean, you never know around here.
Yeah.
You really don't. But now there was a death house there where they stored them. And then it was built. D block was built where the original wooden structure
Hmm.
stood. But now I was always told by family that now they would bury them wherever they dropped them, and
Yeah.
so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
We found 6 graves behind the wall back here that an inmate had told us he used to. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Um, Pete Waddington. No, no. But um, these inmates used to take care of them,
Hmm.
and so we went back there and found them behind the wall. There was 6 of them back
Hmm.
there. So there's graves in other locations for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You need to call him back. I can
No,
edit.
I'm going to turn my volume down though. All right.
So you find activity both in the day and the night?
Oh yeah, you get it here during the
So
day.
what's the difference? Are there certain things you see at night versus day? Or?
The main reason we do it at night, I guess, is because it's creepier,
Yeah.
and then there's not a whole lot of noise pollution at
Yeah.
night. There's less of that, and but the activity you get at night here is different than what you do get during the
Hmm.
day. It's like we see more of the apparitions during the day.
Mm-hmm.
You get more like a shadow figure and stuff at night.
Mm-hmm.
And
Excuse me.
you get a lot of, well, I don't know, you get those at night too, a lot of disembodied voices and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So,
Yeah. What about the former guards? Did they report stuff that they had
yeah.
seen a lot?
Yeah, there's one that they reported quite a bit. We call her Bonnie, but she's out in our courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
She was here long before the prison was ever
Mm-hmm.
here. Out of our family, we believe,
Yeah.
and she's young.
Mm-hmm.
But they would report seeing a female in a dress. Like
Yeah.
some would call in and ask if there was a church group here,
Mm-hmm.
But no, she had been reported over the years. I've also been told that they reported seeing Indians before here.
Mm-hmm.
I know the park rangers do a lot around the woods around the prison here. They
Mm-hmm.
get reports from hikers seeing
Okay.
Indians and
Wow.
stuff.
My wife and I hiked at Frozen Head a long time ago. This was minimum security at the time. I think they were closing down. And there was an escape that day.
Oh, yeah?
And she said, I'm kind of nervous about an escape. I said, there's no way. Don't worry about it. And we left, and it was an escape. But it was minimum security at the time. So, is there any time of the year or day that this place seems to be more haunted?
I mean, no, I think the activity tends to kick up a little during cooler weather,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll slack off some during really hot weather. But that's everywhere. Um, yeah, no, not really.
Storms or
Now storms will trigger, activity for sure. Yeah.
yeah, or any dates like when somebody was incarcerated or when they died or anything like that?
I mean, we come up sometimes on the anniversary of the hostage shootings that
Mm-hmm.
happened in the third floor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll come up and do things like that. But honestly, you can come up here, at any time, and
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Now, I saw in a video, one of the videos that you were in about James Earl Ray's cell,
Uh-huh.
and they played Martin Luther King's
Uh-huh.
speech.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
It seems to trigger, a reaction when they play his speech here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the King family didn't believe he did that crime,
Mm-hmm.
and he swore he didn't. But I think still, it would just that in general would be something that would
Yeah.
trigger it if he said he didn't die here, but
No.
he always said this was home, and
Hmm.
he liked being here, so
Hmm.
it wouldn't surprise me if he's around.
Yeah, he liked it so well he tried to escape.
He's always trying to escape.
Yeah.
That's what he done when when the crime happened. He was an escapee out of Missouri State.
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't blame him on that. I think I'd have been trying to escape too.
Yeah. Did you meet him? Have you?
I did not.
Didn't?
No,
Okay.
my family did though, but
Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely a racist.
Well,
He
yeah, but I mean, now he had some black buddies in
did.
here. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But a lot of people back in those days,
it was
were.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different time. But he might have been a racist, but he wasn't a murderer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The King family, like you said, they never thought he did it.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they came here to talk to him.
Yeah, and he did buy the gun. He knew by that he knew he had been framed. But the only thing he knew about that is that he gave it to a man named Raoul, and that's really the extent he knew about Raoul. But no, the King family didn't think he was the one. Whoever shot him was a smoker, but James Earl Ray was never a smoker.
Not a smoker.
No.
Yeah. What other some of the other inmates around here. Can you give us, or some of the murders? A guy named Waterhead got murdered. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, he got hacked up in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's now that's a Ray Tucker story right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we get him on our paranormal tours quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, and then you got the guy at the telephone,
Jack Jet.
Jack Jet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, have you seen the receiver go off and on, like they say, or other people have said it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never got
No.
that. Now, like cigars, that'll trigger Jack, and stuff. But no, I've never seen that. But there's no phones left in here now, so there's.
Oh, it's so cold in here. My pages were stuck together.
I know. I'm just trying to stay warm.
I know. I'm glad I brought this big coat. In one of the videos, you said nasty things happen in cell D. We've kind of talked about that. Let's see. There was something about odors. Yeah, you mentioned in a podcast smelling terrible odors coming from D block.
Yeah.
What?
Well, we shut that up, D block. Originally, we were getting the negativity from D block. The negativity we get out of the auditorium now, we were getting there. And we closed that up because it was getting really nasty in there. People were getting scratched and just the foul odors and stuff right before things would happen. And so when we closed it, that's when the auditorium started.
Okay.
Yeah, and it took us a little while to figure out that we felt that it was the same thing, but then it took hold in there and has been there since. But yeah, I think it's the same thing that's upstairs.
What kind of odor was it? Was it?
Oh, it was foul, like just kind of like a sulfur smell or something. Sometimes it would smell like kind of like death. I mean, if you've ever smelled something decaying, you would get when that would happen, like on our recorders, we would get growls and hisses, and we would get a weird. At that time, we were getting it sounded like a pig grunting, or it was weird. I don't know, and I just kind of always, with being a Christian, I just wondered if it was like some kind of a mockery because they cast the demons into swine. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what that was. Someone else made a suggestion that it could be native, because that natives used to make, they would communicate through animal sounds. So, someone suggested that. I don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, and watching some of the paranormal videos here, people had mentioned odors, and someone might be right where you are, and their husband might be right next to them, and he would smell it or she would smell it, and they wouldn't.
Yeah. And that happens even with sounds too. Like, I may hear it and you may not, or two or three people, or we get sounds that we capture on recording that we don't hear at all until we play it back. And they're there. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird how that stuff works. But yeah.
There was a group that was in here from Knoxville, and I forget their names, but they said that, and they were kind of skeptical. And they said the things that convinced them was they'd stand by a cell and she would get cold and her husband wouldn't. And then vice versa. So it wasn't a uniform cold coming in.
We've been in here in the middle of July. And it's hotter than Hades when you're in here, but we've been in here and captured, like it would get so cold around us, you would see our breath.
Really?
Yeah, we've got that on video. Yeah,
Wow.
but yeah, it happens. I don't know.
Do you think spirits communicate with other spirits?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
So,
Yeah, we've actually got them on recording where they're talking
really,
amongst themselves. Yeah, yeah.
do you think ghosts realize they're dead?
I don't know. Now I've asked that question before. I asked. I was in the hole actually when we asked that, and they said no. I asked them if they realized they were dead, and they
Hmm.
told me no.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Do you think we're dead?"
Hmm.
And I got a yes. So it
Really?
was like, well, then it made we all sit there scratching our head like,
Yeah.
well, you think we are? Maybe we are, and we don't know we're dead.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. But that was an interesting question. I don't even know why that come about, but yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of a weird question, but what do you think ghosts are?
I think it's souls of people, maybe that are with unfinished business
Hmm.
or taken tragically suddenly. Like they don't realize they're dead.
Hmm.
Or they're just here needing to get a message,
Hmm.
to somebody or.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, and then I think there's other things that weren't ever human.
Hmm.
So I think there's a lot of different things that haunt. But for the most part, I do believe that it's just human souls. That's
Yeah. A lot of times, ghost seems to be a general, term. Oh, it's a
yes,
ghost. It's a ghost, but it
yes,
could be, you know,
yeah.
it's
Yeah, when someone says ghost to me, I think they're meaning all of the above in
yeah.
any aspect. But yeah, but now, yeah, there's different levels and there's different types, and I believe in demonic activity.
Hmm.
I do, but I believe in angels. I believe in all kinds of things. But for the most part, I think
Yeah.
it's.
You don't think a ghost could possess you?
No, I don't. I do. Now, that's one thing I don't. I think if you get possessed, it's something else. It's not,
Mm.
I don't think a human, um, if I died and I'm haunting this, I couldn't possess you. I
Hmm.
don't think so. I don't.
Have there been any possessions here?
Yeah, one for
One.
sure. But yeah,
Where was that?
that was on the third floor.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too that might have been something brought on their self too. They've got their own, you know, religious beliefs,
Hmm.
and you know, so it could be.
Yeah. I hope that was a real person over
Yeah, it was.
there.
But he, what was I going to say?
Kind of.
I think she kind of, I don't know. Like I was there that night and it wouldn't interact with me. Nothing happened to me, but
Hmm.
I believe I was protected,
Hmm.
and and they weren't. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't think, according to the Bible, a demon can possess a Christian.
right. I don't think that. Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
But and you were there that night.
I
It was
was.
scary.
It was. Well, it was. I wouldn't want to ever see it again,
Yeah.
or live through it again for sure. But yeah, I was there. I'd never seen anything like that
Yeah.
before, but and don't want to see it at
I
all.
would have probably quit. I would
Yeah,
said,
no,
I
I
want to
don't want
work
to
in
do.
the gift shop.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, I think too, like we've done this for 10 years. That's the only time it happened. And I feel like that maybe, they were doing some stuff they probably shouldn't have been doing,
Hmm.
to be honest.
Yeah, like seance related or
Yeah, she
witchcraft
would,
or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, well, what about the skeptics? Do they go away convinced or more skeptical or?
Some do, yeah. There's some people in the world that, if they bumped into Casper, you're not going to convince them of
Yeah.
it, But I've had a whole lot of them that didn't believe or was skeptic and came in and they left. Some that's looked at us and said, "I don't know what just happened, but I do know something just happened. I just don't know what it was."
Yeah.
They still won't own it, but but yeah, no, it has convinced several people here.
That's the way I am kind of. Something happened. I have no idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't define it because I don't know enough about it. And yeah, so was there anything else that you want to talk about or ask or explain or?
No, I don't think so. Is there anything else you would like to know about?
No, really. We could talk all day, but
Yeah.
you look cold and my hands are cold.
Yeah,
And,
it is
yeah,
cold. No, I mean, I think you've covered everything really.
yeah,
But
yeah. I've on the supernatural. I had to do a deep dive all weekend.
yeah. Well, that, and this is built in the shape of a cross.
Oh, that's right. Tell us about that.
But it's an upside down cross,
Mm-hmm.
They did that on purpose to send a message to our men they were unworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but it also makes me question, like, what might that invite in? It is
Yeah.
an upside down cross.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, but that's why it was like that. It was to send a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the graves, they're different too.
They're these men. So, in today's world, that may not be a huge deal because so many have fell away from the church. But, back in the day, in the 20s and 30s, that would have been a huge deal.
Yeah.
So Christians face their dead to the east, and they've buried all of our men to the west.
The west, yeah.
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 Yeah. That sends a message.
That does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said today, it probably wouldn't, nobody would know, but
No.
my generation would know.
Yeah.
It'd be blasphemy.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, and then, like I said, some of those men that were in here, that are buried over there that are facing the west, were in here for things like dancing
Yeah.
or, or drinking or cussing or,
Yeah.
I mean, that, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah. And let's talk just a few minutes about some of the guards that used to be here that were corrupt and wanted money and stuff. Randy kind of touched on it, but how bad were they? I know one, and in one video you were talking about somebody brought their 13-year-old daughter in to a cell or something like that and pimped her out, and the guard just.
Yeah, I don't know what guard that was. That would be, Ray may know the answer to that one.
I
But
don't.
that did happen. I
Yeah.
mean, that was something well known here. But but in my opinion, those guards should have been in here with them if they were turning up.
If you do something like that, that's a lot worse than dancing.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean they should have been in there and probably in the ground and out in the graveyard. What about as far as getting weapons in and drugs and stuff like that? Did they kind of turn their head or be bribed or?
Something? Oh yeah, they could be bribed or turn their head, but I mean, then there was times that someone may be really doing their job, but there was ways of getting that stuff in even then. But yeah, it happened. I mean, it's
People are people.
Yeah, no, they are.
Yeah.
And if they're being offered money, they'll usually take it.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, Jamie, thanks a lot for taking time.
Well, I think Ray's here.
Is he?
Yeah, I think that's Ray down there.
You sure it wasn't an apparition?
Well, I don't.
So
I don't think so.
okay.
But yeah.